How's it going, doggy people? I hope you all are doing well. I've been requested to look at this video by Robert Cabral about an aggressive Akita dog at the park learns to behave. Now, a couple of things, just a quick note. First off, I'm a big fan of the Akita. I know I pronounce it the Japanese way versus Akita, so I will try to not be super nerdy about it, but big fan of this dog. I do hope to own one someday. They are awesome. They're the giant cousin to the Shiba. So I'm already partial to this dog. Say it's biased, whatever it is. I mean, any dog, but especially since I understand how the breed works and how they think. They're very independent. They're very intelligent, and they're not easily intimidated, whether by correction or by energy or whatever you want to call it. So that's where a lot of people will say that these animals are stubborn, they don't listen, they need a firm hand. My Shiba, Adonis, is a perfect example that they don't need a firm hand. In fact, they need quite the opposite. They require and they demand respect. When they don't have it, when you're jerking them around, looks like you might have this dog on a Star Mark collar, I don't know, we'll see later. When you act, try to be dominant, see the dog as being aggressive and it needs to learn how to behave and all this, the dog is going to fight back, which is what I love about the Spitz type breeds, that they fight back. The Chow Chow, the Samoyed, the Husky, the Malamute. These dogs don't just roll over. They teach you common sense. They teach you and force you to learn how to do it properly and appropriately and humanely. So with that being out of the way, let's get started.
Video, we just want to do a really quick socialization.
This dog is already very
with
reactive.
Max, our Akita.
Jesus, he's just spinning around. I mean, okay, first off, I have new neighbors in the wall behind where I record. So if you hear some banging and knocking, that's just them. They're moving in today. So hopefully that won't be too bothersome to you all. But this is just a handsome, beautiful dog right here. I'm just, starstruck.
He's just super highly...
Okay, so I'm trying to see. So it looks like he has a prong collar. A choke chain right there. He probably does have just a dark black prong collar, which people tend to do to hide it. In furry dogs, they put a bandana over it, something cute to hide it. If you're going to be using that, if you're going to train with pain, be honest about it and be proud of it. Otherwise, then don't use it.
Trigger. This is something really common. He's triggered by balls, cars, people, everything like that. Let's just put some fair correction, some fair structure.
Fair correction. Okay, so yes, we do have a prong collar. That's not enough. We have a choke chain. That's not enough. Put this tiny little slip lead around this dog, high behind his head, and we're going to change this dog's behavior. I mean, it's really interesting that a rope causes more pain compliance, and I'm sure the method does too, than metal prongs digging into this dog's neck. You saw him spinning around. This dog feels that. But this is causing so much more excitement that he ignores it. Or this drives him forward, makes him more reactive. So we have every dog trainer like this. We have their favorite slip lead. Their favorite tool is the slip lead. Next is the prong collar, and then so on and so forth. So he basically has two choke collars on. This chain one, and then this one.
Let's take a look.
Terrific. Oh, look at that lovely shock collar. Might be something specific where I imagine that, I don't know, I haven't seen it, but it could also have little bits all the way around here that shock the dog. I don't know. So got this beautiful little dog here, very, very pretty dog. And that's not just, a dog's beauty is their curse, just like a horse. So it's just because they're pretty. Any dog is adorable and cute, okay? I'm fangirling over this breed, okay? Perfect. So we already got a tight lead. The dog is ahead. He already has a tight leash. He kind of pulls him back. Dog doesn't seem too bad. I would say give him more of this leash. I hate seeing people, especially when they have a very large dog or a tall dog. It's hard for them to give that dog leash. They want to hold it right by its neck or right by the chain or the collar. Just give them some room. It's harder to do that with a small dog because you kind of have to give them that leash. And people also see, we have an Akita. We have an Akita. We have a big, strong, powerful dog, so we need to wrap this around our hand, which is a very dangerous way to hold the leash, by the way. Because if this guy really wanted to take off, ignoring all the pain of the collars that you have on him, which aren't doing diddly squat anyway, he can easily rip your hand up or pull your shoulder or your elbow. So again, pop.
Try using a command like easy.
Another pop, lip lick. He knows the dog is already triggered and excited, so stop here while the dog is under threshold. Not saying the dog is completely comfortable. We got a lip lick. But the dog is, if you know what their triggers are, keep them below that blow up point and try to get their attention. If you can't, you need to increase distance from whatever the stimulation is that's causing the reaction.
Joe, just say, hey, easy.
But, by doing that would actually take education, understanding, and this trainer, not him, he's the owner, the guy behind him, trains by using fair corrections.
Because the heel thing might put too much pressure on him, like he's got to know where to go.
Okay, so if he's been saying heel versus easy, we got knots in our leash, I think. I might be incorrect. If these are knots, then I've seen people put knots in their lead to have more grip, to stop themselves from sliding, to stop the leash from sliding through their hand. So if he's been saying heel this whole time and the dog is still pulling, the dog does not know what heel means. In fact, you may have unknowingly conditioned the dog that heel means to pull. So the dog does not know heel, especially if he's nervous. Stop saying heel. There's no pulling, no pulling. They don't know what that means. If anything, you're conditioning them to pull forward. So heel, no pulling. Even if I say easy, you have to be careful what you use. So yeah, easy is better. But it's this dog is not in. He's over threshold. He's building. He's not in a good environment where I would begin.
Don't be a ding dong, right?
Okay, what is he saying?
Like he's got to know where to go. It's just like, just don't be a ding dong, right? What?
Oh, okay. So he's saying the fact that he calls the dog a ding dong, he puts that kind of name on the dog. I don't care how cute it is. He could have called the dog, a dummy or an idiot or a dick or whatever. Sorry for the language, but he could have called this dog anything he wanted to. And it's still the fact that no matter how nice it is, the fact that he's putting a name to the dog and putting accountability on the dog. Okay, the dog is already pulling. So that's lesson number 1 is I would work on loose leash. He sees this person. They're kicking soccer balls. They're running. That's a lot of prey drive. That's a lot of moving. He talks about focusing on the relationship. There's no focusing on relationship here. Nothing that he teaches from what I've seen focuses on relationship. But it's great that you should actually follow this do what he says, not what he does. If he wants him to just not be a ding dong, then don't take him here and set him up to act like, in your mind, a ding dong. He's just being a dog. That's all it is. So he's sniffing, he's looking, he's sniffing again. Okay, that can show anxiety. It can show nervous behavior. He's interested. I would stop here and just let him sniff. But he keeps walking, kind of walking into the dog. I'm not going to say that he's necessarily kneeing the dog or walking into him like purposely, but we already see him controlling hand over the leash. He's yanking on the dog, kind of walks into him. I already don't like it. Not much of a relationship.
Loose leash. Loose, nope.
Oh, Jesus, dude. Oh, the poor guy. And this lady's like, oh, geez, we got one of these people here. So, let's get out of here. Sorry, dude. Okay, so we got him on, I don't know which collar. It's all wrapped around his neck. We got his black prong collar, so it hides so people can't see it. We got the black cho ching that I don't think is connected. So he tells him, now, loose leash. No, you should have had loose leash way back when. Right now, it's too late. He has already seen these dogs. He is already over threshold. And so loose leash isn't going to do diddly squat. It will give him more room to run to them, which could be unsafe. So, I couldn't say how you could, you could prevent this, but in this moment, it's going to happen. But I would start immediately walking backwards.
Loose, nope.
And the fact that, sorry, dude, the fact that he had to tell him loose leash means that this guy didn't already have it in his mind to have loose leash when they got there. Robert did not prepare the owner ahead of time of what to do, so he could know what to expect. You need to know what's going to happen before it happens. Otherwise, how the heck do you expect your dog to know? Even these two dogs are like, whoa, that poor guy got flipped over. This lady's like, she may or may not be saying this at all, but, if I were her, I'd be like, wow, that guy is an idiot. The trainer, not the owner necessarily, but the trainer, or the owner who's listening to the trainer who says loose leash, and then you end up flipping your dog like this.
Oops.
Poor thing.
That's
Ouch.
okay. Loose leash.
No, it's not okay. Right now is not loose leash. You need to move this dog away. They're over threshold. He already jumped and flipped himself and landed on his little head. A tight leash often triggers the dog. No, Sherlock. You already know that. So he's been a tight leash this entire time. So a tight leash, yes, it most often triggers any dog to pull if they are reactive. This has been building, trigger stacking. We have dogs, we have people. We're in a new area. We have another person walking with the owner. We have someone playing soccer. All sorts. There's everything else going on this side. Maybe traffic over here, traffic over here. We have the breeze. We have maybe planes. All of these add to it that people don't realize. And then we want to blame the dog and just say, no, it's okay. No, so this, no, don't tell him no. I would automatically, and this little dog isn't helping, but don't worry about telling the dog no. And yes, these little guys aren't helping, but you know what? It's okay. You can teach your dog that no matter what these guys are doing, you ignore them. This lady may or may not think that she's helping, but if she learns from this, then just move your dogs away because it helps this dog. Because otherwise, he's going to get corrected because he's just being a dog. Your dogs are being a dog, but you can control only what you can control. So I would immediately start walking this dog away. Of course, he'd be on I like the long line, but he would be on a harness, and we would just be immediately walking away. We would have walked away long before this point. But if it happens, like with Zeus, the dog who's far more reactive than this guy, but he does the same thing. He's just barking a lot more. I walk him away. The instant he gets over threshold and he loses it, and I couldn't get his control fast enough, I couldn't get control of his mind fast enough, I couldn't get him focused on me fast enough, we instantly start walking away. And the dog, I may have to drag a couple of paces, and then I say, okay, we need to find an area where this is not going to happen more than once.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. Okay, so he's just yanking back on that prong collar. Wow, look at those gorgeous toes. Sorry, I know this is not just like the Akita thing. It's just like, just look at that paw print. It's just, I'm a big fan of anthro, just the way their bodies are built. Like I love to study, the skeletal structures and just, the details of an animal. It's just interesting how they work. I'm fascinated by it. But anyway, moving on. So he's doing this and yanking on this dog, pop, 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 on a prong collar. And that's making, if anything, the tight leash and the prong collar are making it worse. That's why you don't use this stuff, because this makes the dog more frustrated. He will still do this on a harness, but it won't be hurting and causing more pain and more frustration. He'll have frustration for a different reason. Hey, I can't get to that dog. I want to play, or who knows what. But he would still have frustration. But no, they need to move back to this area over here if they can. That would be ideal. Okay, so he's controlling himself in this little circle. If you saw that, we'll go back a couple seconds. So he's loose there. He's controlling himself. So that tells me he's probably not super aggressive in the sense that he wants to hurt this dog. I think he's just excited. And he has one barrier, the leash, two barriers, the fence. So that's making him much more frustrated. I would start backing him away over here to this area, to where we know or this grassy area, whatever, where we know he's not going to even be, he may be looking over here, but he's not going to be anywhere near this. And then I would just stay in this area. And we stay there and we reward for him looking. We reward for him looking away. Then we start rewarding for him looking and then looking away on his own. Anything he's doing that's not like this, I reward. And then we build our way up to, hey, can you look at me? Perfect. Now I'm going to wait for you to look at me on your own without me having to give you a cue. And then we just, work up and down here until he's okay. And then we slowly get closer and closer to this area. Every time he reacts, we're going to go back. We're going to stay there a little bit more until that becomes second nature. People want to work way too quickly. When I say that we're going to take our time over here, I mean we are going to stay here and we're not moving forward until this dog is totally just, this area is old news. All the sniffs are out, they can focus and do anything over here, and then we move forward a few feet and then we stay right there. And we do not move forward until I feel that we are ready. Then we move forward. Because every time you go here and you're like, oh, he's doing great for 10 minutes, let's go back over here. Trust me, I've been there a million times myself with my own Shiba, and I'm trying to teach people, don't do the mistakes that I have made. Okay, I can see ahead, I can see in the future. It's better for the dog to have 10 repetitions of good behavior here, and maybe one over here, versus the other way around. Or one or two over here, and then one over here, and then one over here, and then two over here. We want it to be consistent. So again, jumping, frustration.
Thank you.
So I guess, I don't know who he's thinking, maybe the soccer people or the lady with the dogs. But while he's over here, he could be trying to use his little treat pouch to give him something. I would get his attention and start backing away. Yes, into the street, but watch out for the cars. But I would back away. Walking backwards is going to entice your dog to follow you.
Good, easy.
Okay, so he went to go pet him there, and the dog totally ignored him. So he's already over threshold. So we need to back up, give him some space, because he's not going to hear anything that you say. He's barely even feeling the leash. I mean, he feels it, but he's barely paying attention to it. He may or may not be intact. Okay, so he's,
a lot of
he's
triggers.
vocalizing because he's frustrated. He knows there's lots of triggers, and he likes to flood dogs.
Good, loose leash. Tell him what you want.
This guy doesn't even know how to keep a loose leash. I would practice that first in the yard before I even come out here and put him in front of triggers.
Max, sit.
Don't worry about the sit. Don't worry about the... Oh, God, get him off of these things, please. Don't worry about the obedience. He's too nervous for that. He doesn't care about that. If you're across the street, then you can ask him for a single sit and see if he'll do it right away. If he does, terrific. Then you have him under threshold. If he doesn't, let him sniff. Work around it.
No.
You can choke in his neck. Knots all tied up in this leash here. Can end up smacking the dog. You know, I mean, this dog is already used to this, so he probably is really numb to, you know, everything else. But he seems like a young dog. He's just excitable, and this can really mess him up, especially with this kind of breed. People are going to think, no, this is why you need these. People are going to think this is why you need these kind of tools. No. And again, he's telling the dog no, because Rob is saying, tell him what you want. No, don't worry about telling him what you want. How about you listen to what the dog is telling you, what the dog needs?
Sit.
Don't worry about the sit. Ouch.
You got
Ouch.
the leash tangled, which will affect that prong for him.
Sit.
It'll affect the prong for him. Yeah, because God forbid you do anything to help the dog. It's all focused about the human. Sit, jerk, pop. Can't even untangle your leash. That's just a pet peeve of mine. It's okay, Bubba. Do we have neighbors?
Nope.
So again, tight, tight, tight. See, that's why he has that little tab there. It's that he can grab it and get grip on it, and he can pop this dog and over-control this dog. And this dog right now is just showing a lot of interest. You know, pretty loose lips. Very forward on his toes, but the way his feet are standing far apart, he's kind of leaning a little bit back with his back legs, kind of crouching a little bit. Hackles are up a little. He's just not sure. So I would stand there, drop all of this leash, so he could have at least 4 loose feet of leash hanging, and I would let him look. And if he didn't want to take a treat, okay, we'll just let you look. If you react, then we're going to move back a few feet. If you're chill, we can come back up and see if you want to just sit there again.
No.
Correct.
No, don't say no. Oh, Jesus, dude. Okay, now we got to hear what Rob told him to do.
No.
Correction.
Correction.
Sit.
Jesus, dude. Ouch. He didn't need the correction. Good grief. And all these other... This prong collar is too low, by the way. Everybody's gonna... All the people who use prong collars is to think, oh no, if they're used correctly, it has to be high up behind the head. And then it'd be more effective. You happy?
It's okay. It's good.
Oh, now he sits.
Easy,
Now
don't
he
touch
gets a
too
good boy.
much.
He doesn't care about it. He says, get out of my face.
Easy.
Okay, so he didn't even... He tells us this, but he didn't tell him that touch can stimulate the dog. It would only stimulate the dog if they're over threshold.
Okay, so here comes those dogs again, right?
Cutie pie.
Watch those dogs.
Okay, so we know the dogs are coming, so I would have moved away. Moved just enough distance to where I can allow the dog to look at them. I don't move a dog away or put food in front of their face the entire time a dog is walking by. I want them to notice the trigger, but when we're below threshold where the dog can handle the trigger and be positively reinforced for that calm behavior, they can still associate those dogs with something good.
No.
Not no, not no. No.
Max. No. Sit.
No, don't worry about the sit. Pull, 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 tight leash. You need to move away from here. You need to move away from here. This is the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And Cabral isn't doing anything to help this guy. He's just standing here. Probably to get the good before and after footage. Because then he's going to go put a slip lead on and yank and crank this dog and say, there we go, we fixed it. Jesus. Ouch.
Sit.
This dog is spinning. He's not going to sit.
Max.
Ouch.
No.
He doesn't hear the no. He sat because he's frustrated. He's tired of pulling on this and it hurts. We have spatulate tongue here. His lips are getting long. He's getting so frustrated. And this guy, honestly, is really lucky that this dog did not turn and redirect on him. I mean, Adonis, when I, again, didn't know better and I had him on a prong collar and I would correct him like this, I have done this before. I will be honest. I didn't know anything. I've changed since then, and Adonis has a collapsed trachea because of it. Because I listened to idiotic trainers, just like Cabral, Robert. And it's been 10.5 years since I have used this with my dog, and he still has a collapsed trachea. Because I used a prong on him and a choke chain for 2 months. Up until he was 6 months old. And it caused forever damage, like it probably will with this dog. But when I use the prong collar, Adonis would turn back and redirect on me. He would turn and bite me. And he's a third of this dog's size, maybe half. Adonis is my mutant giant Shiba. But Adonis would fight back. He would fight the trainers that tried to correct him back. And he is the reason I'm a dog trainer, because he taught me that this doesn't work. It works momentarily. Unless you really yank and crank on this dog, you're going to have to continue this over and over, and you will only ever be able to rely on these tools. I would rather rely on my treat pouch and on my relationship with my dog and my body. And notice they're both working with sunglasses. This dog has nothing to read. He can't read their eyes. He can't see anything.
You're strong like me. He's strong like him. But you're using
brute force and metal tools to bully and cause pain compliance with your own dog, which does not help at all.
You're not using your power.
Right. Yeah.
Until
you're using the tool's
it's got to
power.
be meaningful to him.
Right.
What you're correcting now is you're kind of correcting like your friend's dog that you want to look bad in front
No,
of.
he's not. If he were correcting a friend's dog, he would not be my friend. I would beat the daylights out of him if I ever had a friend that did that to my dog. Corrections must be firm and fair. What he was doing, what I saw, was firm. What apparently Cabral means is abusive. Like, you gotta take this dog's head off. Which, yeah, if you're gonna do it once and done, it has to be meaningful in order to stop behavior. And even then, it will only stop the behavior, but it will not help this dog. It'll make him a ticking time bomb. And that is why people think that this breed need a firm hand. They think that they need to be aggressive because they see this. A Chihuahua can do the same thing, but because you're so tiny and meaningless in the human's eye, they don't do much damage. I've known a Yorkie to bite someone's finger off. The first digit, little knuckle on their finger, with one snap. It doesn't take a lot. A lot of breeds should not be as easily accessible as they are, because then people just mess them up, and then everybody sees the breed as that. Adonis is proof that positive reinforcement works with him so much better than negative reinforcement and corrections. That doesn't mean that he's a little pansy. I correct him. I use a verbal tone with him. If he's chasing Hermes, I say, hey, I'll tell him to knock it off, but I don't ever pop him like this. You kidding me? He would fight back. He would he would leave a bruise on my leg, and rightfully so.
Right?
Right.
You need to correct him like, I just had enough. Right?
No, again, he says it so casually. You are causing this behavior. Why does he have to pay for you? He is... Hi, good boy. Adonis senses my blood pressure raising. This dog is just an angel compared to so patient. Adonis would not put up with any of this, and I'm thankful that he doesn't.
So we're going to wait for another dog, and then we're going to do that. Good. I'm not focusing
So
on
I removed Max's prong and worked him shortly. Okay.
any obedience, leash walking or anything. Okay.
I
So
do.
they're just going away. Max, let's go.
So they have 2 lines on him. So what's the other collar connected to? Is it connected to the prong? Is it connected to his choke chain? He says he removed the prong. So what's this one connected to? You're not really working with him alone because the 2 of you are working with him. That can be very confusing.
So just even that, nice, right? Easy. But what I want you to
Knees into him. Just watch the very subtle body language of how he interacts with this dog.
easy.
Okay. He stands,
But what I
knees, and
want
pushes
you
him
to-
out of the way. That, yeah, it's not abusive, but pushing the dog out of the way with your body versus I would have just walked around him. These are little things I see and the dog does not miss. And I don't know how long he's been working with him, what he did. Again, he still has sunglasses hiding his eyes. It's hard for the dog to see. The dog has 2 leashes on. Not one
focus
treat
on is
used.
really keeping this leash looser and maybe using a slip leash.
Ouch, ouch. Why does he have 2 leashes? This is on the prong collar. You liar. I can see that. He did not remove the prong collar. His second line is with this guy. So see, says one thing, but does another. This is why I do this. Trying to call out these charlatans with their silver tongues. Prong collar. And it looks like there's a hook on it. To me, if you say you removed a prong collar, it's off the dog. I see that Hermspringer signal, whatever it is, symbol. We'll go back to when he pops this dog for no reason. Ouch!
Using a slip leash.
Unnecessary.
Just to kind of, I think the edge on him,
The dog is sniffing the whole
Is
time.
making
He's
it
shortening
worse.
his leash.
I think he's getting
Dog doesn't
prongs.
care
and he's
about
like,
them.
It's like when I grab him to make him sit on his butt, he starts to go, hey.
So he's been working with him long enough to grab him, to force him to sit. So why didn't he show that?
Screw you, dude.
No, you know what? The dog probably is not saying that. Adonis would, because I know my dog. But this dog could very well, as a breed, yeah, he very could well be saying, screw you, dude. You're not going to force me to sit. Like, I don't know you. I don't respect you. This dog demands respect. This breed does, and they deserve it. They're one of the few breeds that does demand respect. But when you force a dog to sit, you push down on their butt, they're going to fight. It doesn't mean that they're saying F you or screw you. If I tried to force him to sit or lay down or go into any kind of compromised position, he would fight it too, because he doesn't know what you're doing. That's why you don't force a dog to sit down. It's bad for the pelvis, the spine, the legs, the hips, and the relationship.
This is painful. I want
Okay, so the dog is saying, screw you, when you pull up on my prong collar and push on my spine to make me sit, this is painful, and so he wants the pain to go away. There shouldn't be pain in the first place. At least he admits that the prong is painful. But so is the slip lead.
the pain to go away right away with him.
There shouldn't be any
Sit.
pain.
Right, that's kind of what I want.
Fearful, lip lick, sit. That power. And this long rope, so he has lots of leverage on a tiny strand around this dog's neck. This poor thing.
And again, it's the only difference that you're sometimes having a
See?
mistake with.
It may or may not be on the prong collar, maybe on the choke chain, but I'm assuming it's on the prong collar.
Is your pressure, then sit. So you're creating conflict before clarity. I want clarity, then conflict.
Now, there shouldn't be conflict, period. You're an idiot if you think you need conflict to teach a dog to sit.
Good, Max.
Ouch.
No.
Ouch.
Sit.
No. Fair correction with no emotion? No. Not at all. Abuse. Unnecessary. Fear. Intimidation. Pain. Pain compliance. Don't tell me there's no emotion in
Good.
that.
There's a correction. No other correction yet. No. Sit.
So he said no, and he almost cowers back to him because he may associate that word with that harsh correction.
No. Sit.
Kind of cowers away.
No. Sit.
Don't touch him, dude. You're gonna make him hand shy. Don't. His one little finger. Just stop pushing dogs down. Stop pushing them down to teach him sit. If you need to do that, then you're an idiot. You shouldn't be a dog trainer.
Good boy. Loose leash.
He doesn't care about the good boy. All he hears is correction. You do as I say. Otherwise, you're going to have pain. Prong collar is still on.
No.
Still attached
Sit.
probably to Dad.
No correction yet. Nothing. Right? See, I'm letting him work through that. Max, sit.
Don't worry about the sit. It's controlling.
No correction.
Ouch.
Sit.
No, this dog does not need to worry about sitting. Now we have this cart over here. We have a bike. We don't know how long this dog has been here. This sums up everything. A picture is worth 1,000 words. I mean, geez, like, this guy is just so... I can see why people wanted me to go over this video. There's another one of him working with another Akita that I'll be going over next. Okay, so I'm going to end that here. I didn't want to leave him on that sad little picture, so that'll do it for this video. So sad to see that people like this are like the number one face, or some of the number one faces in dog training. Now this is necessary, especially not with this breed. You know, when I get my next dog, which I hope to be one of these breeds, I will show you day one how I start him or her, and hopefully train them to be my service animal. And none of this will be necessary. Anyway, that's not really to prove to anybody in particular, but just to show people who may have a similar dog or issues with any other dog that you don't need to do this. So, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. I appreciate all my subscribers and all the suggestions and all the kind words. I hope you all are having a wonderful day, night, evening, afternoon, whatever. Thanks again, and until next time, stay positive.